Know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job. It's to spark somebody else watching us. We might not be the one. But let's not be selfish, and because we're not going to change the world, let's not talk about how we should change it. I don't know how to change, but I know if I keep talking about how dirty it is out here, somebody going to clean it up.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.
Hello again. This is Uche. I was going to say my full government name, so I'm going to go ahead and say my full government name. The whole notion of a government name. I'm going to tell you the name that my mother gave me, which is Uche Chukwu, which means the will of God. So Uche Chukwu in Joku. This is who I am. Welcome to the Sneaker Principal Podcast. Today is, I'm recording this, March 20th, 2022. It's Sunday. And, yeah, it's been, I don't want to say it's been a while, but I've spent a lot of time really preparing for this episode. And you might be saying, what's going to happen in this episode? I believe this is the episode where everything's going to change. The content that I create, the reasoning behind it, the purpose that I live upon, you know, that purpose, that thing that drives me, will be allowed to come out moving from this episode forward. So, where do I start? So first of all, welcome. Hopefully you're all doing well, wherever you're listening from, whether you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching this on other platforms, or you're even listening to this on one of the many podcast platforms. I record this on video and at the same time with the intention of this being listened to by those of you who are in love with the podcast format as I am. This is actually my 81st published episode. And those of you who've had a chance to look at any of my content or even have been following me, someone has, because people have been downloading. I feel like I've been all over the place, kind of touching upon all the various things that interest me. I believe the last 3 episodes that I did had to do with a ghost story from my childhood in Nigeria, and then some of the things that I dealt with going to boarding school in Nigeria. Definitely a variance from some of my other episodes what I've done, which are having to do specifically with education, interviewing people and things of that nature. It's been a while since I interviewed anyone, but nonetheless, here I am right now, and I am taking this opportunity. Forgive the squeaky chair that I'm sitting in. I'm taking this opportunity to really take some time to reflect on where I've been so far in this episode, on this channel, in this episode. And the thing that I want to do is I want to be able to be 100% honest in the content that I create, in the things that I say, the things that I write. I'm reaching a milestone in my life, in my career, in my family, and I think I realized that a lot of us live our lives not speaking our truths, or at least better yet, lying to ourselves. We believe that by being as proper as possible, as being as hidden as possible from the truth of who we are, at least how the world perceives us, that we are able to maintain some level of success and be able to live this world in the best way that we want to. And that is not true. I don't believe it's true. I don't think I've ever believed it's true. But however, this is what we do. Some of you might be listening to me right now saying, what is he talking about? And again, that's part of my my training as a man in this 21st century space, where we are constantly having to watch what we say and say things in a way that's palatable for other people to consume, rather than speaking our own personal truths, and that's a major problem, especially when it comes to who I am as an educator. I spend a lot of time engaging young people, especially my high school students, around finding their voice and using their voice as a platform to potentially change the world, or at least change the environment for one person, even just one person. Even if that one person is yourself, being able to use your voice in that capacity. And the fact of the matter is, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've done that in this space. I've been given this gift of having the capacity, the space to actually speak and let the world hear, and maybe impact one or two people. And not to say I haven't done that, but I know I haven't done that intentionally. I haven't spoken with the purpose of teaching. I haven't spoken with the purpose of really igniting that fire, that voice, that brain that Tupac speaks about in the beginning of every episode that I've aired so far. That speech that Tupac gave, not even a speech, that quote from him from an interview, moves me every single time. I might not be the one to change shit, but I might be able to be the one to spark the brain that will. But the world we live in is messed up. It's messed up in so many different levels and so many different spaces. But however, I know for me, the space that I can have the most impact on is what happens within the realm of education. I work for the largest school system in America. I've been able to transcend from being a classroom teacher, a dean, to an assistant principal, to a principal, and not only that, a principal at a high school. And not only being a principal at a high school in a quite noteworthy building in New York City, in Brooklyn, and I ask myself, what have I done with my platform, beyond keeping my job and trying to not rock the boat, but at the same time telling my students that you need to rock the boat. Kind of hypocritical of me, right? But at the same time, I'm pretty sure there are other educators out there who feel the same way, teachers and deans and assistant principals, and especially principals who feel the exact same way. The things that we want for our children, the things that we know that they deserve, the things that we know that can change our communities, or at least the communities in which we serve, we don't say, we don't do. We hope that somehow, some way, through sheer miracle, that change will occur. And it's not going to occur, because I can tell you right now, all the years I've been in the system, there has been no miracle, other than flashes of beautiful miracles. It's like, not even miracles, but just flashes of just brilliance. But they're literally flashes. They're gone. Even though the work that I want to do is to create a space where the miracles are not just excuse me, I cleared my throat there. The miracles are not just flashes of brilliance, but they're just consistency of flow, where we're creating a space where every child has an opportunity to be amazing, where teachers get to just do what they do as artists and scientists and just point to children, where I can speak to the adults and the key stakeholders and tell them this is what we need to do to move forward. and be able to do it bravely and without any fear and with complete intentionality. These are things that we don't do. And again, I feel like right now I'm speaking in a manner that might seem coded, but I believe that there are people listening right now, educators who are listening right now, who are saying to themselves, I get it. I feel handcuffed. I feel, not allowed to really do what I know I should be doing, or what I know I can do to really move things forward, to think outside the box and to really push hard and build something amazing. But I know for a fact that this is something that is not normalized. It's not normal to think outside the box. It's not normal to really build something incredible for children in our school systems, in our communities. And the funny thing about it is this: it's not to say there aren't great things happening. There are great things, but even some of those people who are doing those great things will tell you they're also limited. That there's so much more they want to do, but they're handcuffed to a system that says, yes, we want excellence. Yes, we want the amazing. We want the brilliance. But as long as it happens within the confines of, what's the word? Soft bigotry. Where we say we want excellence, we want all that's amazing, that we want to do these incredible things for our children and with our children and for our children. But we set the bar so low that it looks like something good is happening, but in reality it's not. And again, these are things that I don't think that we are permitted to truly talk about. So let me flow for a second here. This is my 16th year in the system. And I'm saying the educational system because I've spent some time between New York and other places. But 16 years straight through of doing the exact same thing, being an educator, being a public school educator. And I can tell you this, I've seen with my own eyes teachers, principals, district leaders, system leaders who have maybe intentionally or unintentionally perpetuated soft bigotry. What does this look like? When I walk into a classroom and I see a student writing an essay with a pen and paper, and every letter is capitalized, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe this is just the way a child drafts. It's going to be typed up. Then when it's typed up, I see the finished product on a bulletin board in the hallways for everyone to see. And that document is all in caps and has in red ink, great job. And the child gets a 90 on that essay. That's all in caps. And I question the teacher, why is this child's essay all in caps? Every letter of every word is capitalized. And the teacher tells me, oh, no. I know, I saw that, I know that, but then tells me you have to understand where this child started from. Just getting him to write something was hard. It's been a challenge, and the fact that they even did something is incredible. So I do not want to, to make them feel bad or quench this newfound motivation. And I'm standing there with my mouth wide open say to myself, really? If this child is already in a space where they're willing to do this work, why not show them how to do it the right way? Why not hold their hand and walk them through the process, so that fake 90 could be a real 100. And all the skills and the abilities that's acquired from that process writing that paper can be replicated in every other classroom, so that when they make it to college or wherever space that they find themselves in after high school, they're confident in the ability to write down, to write down, to communicate in words, in written word. A gift that they would have forever. Something I see when a child does math work, and they're being given, they're being celebrated for, getting a 75, rather than celebrating them for taking effort to catch on that other 25%, and praising them and helping them understand. Now, not only do you know how to do this math problem, you're not at 75, you're at 100. You have the ability to move forward now and do even greater things. But instead, this child doesn't like math. So the fact that they even did, can you imagine somebody telling you, hey, you're about to see your doctor. Let me tell you about this doctor. If you saw where they started from, they didn't want to do any of this. They were actually horrible. They were horrible in med school. They were horrible in all through these things. But, however, at the 11th hour, they started making an effort. And we were willing to take whatever effort they were making, because it was better than what they were doing before. So we just go ahead and give them a degree. Because, look, if you knew where they started from, then you know that we have to give them this degree. If you heard that, you'd be like, what the F are you talking about? What the heck are you talking about? This doctor is not even qualified to be a doctor, but you give them a degree for effort? We wouldn't accept that in the medical field, in the legal field, in the regular society. Even at a job in McDonald's, if you saw how bad this person was at the register, but now they're making half the mistakes they were making before. That's why they're still on the job and we're still paying them. We're losing money, but at least they're better. If that's how the world works, please let me know. But I know for a fact that's not how the world works. And again, these are the things that we are not addressing. These are the things that we're allowing to just be as though it's okay. And it's not okay. I'm thinking about Anthony Bourdain's book, Kitchen Confidential, right now. I'm telling myself, I need to write a book called School Confidential. And maybe it exists already. Maybe School Confidential, according to the life and times of Uche Njoku as a public school educator. Because there's so much that's happening in our spaces, so much that good principals and good school leaders and good teachers are fighting to make right, that people don't know about. And it's not cool. It's not acceptable. But it exists. And a lot of our children are going through it. Today doing brunch, I had a conversation, with my wife about our children and what happens next educationally. And I've been stuck on that because my daughter is going on 4, so she's ready for school in the fall, pre-K. My son had just turned 2, but he is, in my opinion, further ahead than most kindergartners, both him and his sister, because of what they get at home and the expectations that we have and the freedom that we give them to learn. And my fear is they will end up in school and have that light taken out. Because they'll be in a space where their curiosity and their want to learn and engage and explore is going to be quenched by sit in your desk and be quiet and wait your turn. Yes, that's the society we live in. The shut up, sit down, be quiet, and wait your turn society. And I ask myself, how am I going to deal with my children facing that? Or better, how am I dealing with my children facing that? But I say all this really, to say that my goal moving forward is to speak my truth. Whether it's coherent, incoherent, it's going to all make sense in time. But it's very important that I speak my truth and I write my truth. Because at the end of the day, I chose to become an educator, not just for the money, not just for position or title or any kind of accolades. I chose to become an educator because I was that kid. I was the kid who was ignored. I was the kid who was not given the privy of full attention by my teachers, by the school, by community. And it wasn't until I realized what was at stake. A lot of it came from literally observing my community and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And once I realized what was at stake, I turned on that engine, that battery on my back, and went hard. But a lot of that had so much less to do with what I learned at school. It's just, being observant of society. And I think I'm one of the lucky few who came up where I came up, who were blessed to be able to do that. And I'll say this again, I will say this now, it wasn't all by myself. And there were people who kind of threw clues my way, and a lot of them were unintentional. But I paid attention, and I saw something, and I ran with it. And here I am today. And I want to do the exact same thing for my students. I want to do same thing for my families. I want to do same thing for my community. Give people the opportunity to say, hey, this is what I need to do to get where I need to be. But often schools don't do a good job in allowing that to happen. And this is why I am taking this opportunity, this opportunity, this gift to turn my podcast into a space of really teaching and being a light to the situations and helping my colleagues and those who are looking to go into the profession. Also families who might be lost, people who might just be like, I don't get how this whole stuff works. I'm just going to be throwing my 2 cents as often as I can. I go at least once a week to just come and join you guys and say, hey, this is what's going on and why. And I hope this is something that will be helpful to those of you listening, because at the end of the day, we live in a society that often doesn't really engage us the way we need to be engaged, so we don't know how systems work and what's happening until it's too late. And that mostly happens in our schools. So I'm going to be taking a Anthony Bourdain approach to my content and telling you stories, describing to you to the best of my abilities what I see, what I've experienced. And some of it's going to be current. Some of it's going to be like, hey, today this is what happened. Some of it might be like, hey, I remember 2 years ago this happened, and kind of form together a space where I get you to think, and hopefully I can also, present you with calls to action. I have this project I've been working on, which is a call to action project, and I'm going to be making an episode real soon about that. Probably might be my next episode, about Black and brown community and what can we do to really shift the performance of our students. Again, I am a public school educator. I am a public school principal, so I would never say put your kids out of public school. But there's merit there. There's a lot of things I don't like about it, even though I even work in the system. But there's also a lot of things in there that are crucial to the development of our children, and at least to most of our children. But at the same time, it has to be said that our kids are not getting everything that they need academically, instructionally within the school day. It's virtually impossible. It's virtually impossible to meet the needs of each individual child unless you have a school where you're at least at a 3 to 1 ratio, where an adult could comfortably say, these 3 kids are my kids. I'm going to make sure that I'm following up with them in every subject area, every content area, social, emotionally, everything connected to this child's development in the school. That is not something that's readily available. There are schools like that. Trust me, I've read about on them. I know what they are. Some of these schools, we're talking about $80,000, $90,000 a year, and these are elite private schools where you have a space where a child has that level of support. That's not the case in the typical public schools environment. We are doing the best that we can in our spaces, but what's needed is a little bit more. And that little bit more often is so priced out of our range, at least in the Black and brown community. Tutoring, additional academic supports. These are things a lot of families who are more affluent provide for their children above and beyond what's happening during the school day. But often we can't afford to expend another $400 or $500 a month, to get our kids tutoring and get them into academic programs to support their growth, So what we do is we just rely on the school to do everything. And the reality is, the majority of schools are not equipped to truly support kids beyond the school day because we just don't have the resources or the manpower. But I think it's interesting how in our communities, even whether it's white, black, brown, yellow, red, whatever color you want to connect yourself to, or political sphere, we all have people in our communities who are educated, who have the skill sets in these subject areas that's taught in schools, and a lot of them are working jobs that are not even connected to what they studied. We a lot of them are without jobs, and they're just looking for employment, gainful employment. I always thought it's funny. Especially like in the hood. Where I grew up, in urban America, there are people there who have college degrees. You have people there who majored in biology, chemistry, in English language arts, and foreign languages, who have degrees, great degrees, but can't find gainful employment. So they work in jobs that had nothing to do with their degrees, and they kind of wallow in silence and pain and shame. But my question has always been, what if these people said, hey, just for giggles, I'm going to just start reaching out to my neighbors and saying, hey, I have a degree in mathematics. I'm willing to tutor as many your kids, for a nominal fee. I'm not going to charge what Kumon and all these other spaces charge. Silver Learning Center and all these people. I'm not talking bad about them, but they're very expensive. They're a premium product. If people now in our communities who have these degrees and this knowledge in these subject areas said, hey, let's start creating learning pods. Let's start charging families $10 per session, $5 a session. I'll take 20 kids, whatever the case may be. Guess what happens? All of a sudden you have a fully functional business. Because at the end of the day, if you're willing to pay, $120, $150, $300 for sneakers for your children, $300 you want to buy a pair of Yeezys at retail for your kids, I'm pretty sure you would think the investment in education is just as worth it, right? But again, I can't be blaming families because these things don't even exist. Whenever I see learning centers in our communities, they're usually, for toddlers and younger. I don't see a lot of black and brown owned tutoring businesses or center spaces that really, allow for kids to really get that support. Even in not-for-profit spaces, they tend to be so packed that, yes, they do help out to a certain extent, but they're not going deeper. They're not going deep enough. It's not just tutoring; it's also enrichment programs. You know, it just also, subjects that allow our students to learn about self and skills that are not being taught in school. I don't believe schools should be teaching sex education. I think people who are professional, who are in the medical field, those who are trained, should be ones teaching it. I shouldn't be giving my curriculum to my science teacher or an AP or assistant principal, because we don't have the time in our schedule, or throwing it at the teachers doing advisory. That's not their expertise. It's not their space of comfortability that we do this. We find these great programs and we force teachers to teach it, and these teachers are like, okay, I'll take the extra money, but no matter how hard I try to do a good job teaching this thing that I'm not familiar with, it's never going to be the same as having an expert teach it. You don't have an English teacher teach high level math. You want to have the license for it. You don't have the calculus teacher teach ninth grade English. Yes, they might be able to do it, but are they equipped and trained to do that? And I'm saying that we have people in our community who are equipped and trained to do that, but we do not ever truly tap into that genius. We just don't. We don't. And for me, that's a problem. It's a huge problem. So I have this idea that I've been working on. I'm putting together. But again, I'm going to go into detail in my next episode where I'm saying, what if we started a movement nationwide to start creating learning centers, whether they're not-for-profit or for-profit? We start doing that. We start taking our kids off the block, and we start doing either virtually or storefront, just like churches. We start doing storefront, academies, math academies, English academies, writing academies. Keep them cheap. This can be able to sustain some people as a part-time income. For others, this could be a full-time income. You can run these things on Saturdays and Sundays after school, and surprisingly enough, pull in more money than what teachers are making doing a regular school day, being forced to teach a curriculum that often is archaic and not in alignment with what is needed in today's society. These are things that, again, go counter to what, my understanding of what we should be doing as educators, public school educators. We should be finding ways to make sure that we're giving every child what they need within our classrooms. But I just ask, what about the outside of classrooms? Listen, guys, in the third grade, I was labeled, the same way Les Brown, the great, amazing Les Brown, was labeled. Uneducably, I forget how he words it. Uneducably, uneducable, something. I'm tripping right now. I'm gonna have to type it up and look it up. But actually, I'm gonna type it up right now because I hate when I'm trying to say something I can't. And again, I'm over here in front of my computer. Uneducable. Les Brown. For those who don't know who Les Brown is, he is an amazing speaker and leader, and he talks about him being in his younger years in school, and he was given the label of being Let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find the actual term that was used to okay. So it wasn't uneducable, it's actually educable, mentally retarded. So he could be educated, but he's mentally retarded. That was the label that was given to Les Brown. And it's funny because that was a similar label was given to me in the third grade. That I was slow. I was super slow, and I need extreme services. And I was thrown into special education in the third grade. And the school itself provided me all these services, and I just kind of drudged along the third grade into the fourth grade, and my mom decided to take me and my siblings back to Nigeria. And we got to Nigeria, and I was in the deep end because I had no skills, none. All the sources they gave me no skills. If anything, it made me it made me less confident and more unsure, and deathly afraid. And I was failing horribly, even worse in Nigeria, because Nigeria, there's no special education programming. You are general ed like everybody else. So mind you, the soft bigotry of my special ed classrooms in the 3rd grade and early 4th grade made me believe I was making progress. But then the reality of being in a general classroom in Africa, I realized that I knew nothing. And what did my mother do? She accessed tutors and teachers outside of the school day to support me, which meant I still went to school and I was still struggling in school. But at home, I was getting supports. I was getting lessons. And before you knew it, by the end of the 4th grade, I went from being second to the last position in my grade, in my class, which was, I was number 43 out of 44, ranking wise. I made it to like top 10 or 15 by the end of the 4th grade. And by the end of the 5th grade, I tied for 2nd place in the class, missing 1st place by 1 point. Did I all of a sudden become smarter, more brilliant? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's not what happened. What happened was that space on the outside, those uncles and aunts and those teachers my mom was able to get for me to tutor me outside of school and make me read and do other things outside what I was doing in school, is what made school even easier. Because it's like working out. You can hire a personal trainer and see that personal trainer twice a week, and that's all you do. You will see progress. But now you see that personal trainer twice a week, but rest of the other 5 days a week, the other 5 out of 7 days, you're running, you're watching your diet, you're doing other things. Because what happens? The trainer is only sharpening you. And it's only making you better. But you're taking everything you learn from the trainer and you're applying to the other days. That's what happened. What happened outside of school, I was able to apply to what I was doing in school, and I became better, and I accelerated. I didn't have to be remediated every single time I was pushed forward. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be talking more about that, because I feel like this is a call to action to happen across our communities, across America, in the hood, in the barrios, on the reservations, wherever we are being marginalized and not being given all that we need for our children to be successful. But yeah, this is the work that I want to engage in. This is the space that I'm going to be living in. If you go on my YouTube, those of you who are from my YouTube, you're going to be like, what happened to all the videos? I've taken all my videos down. They've all been put into a private setting. So all you're going to see is what I'm doing now. My focus on education, my focus on creating a movement around this country around how do we, as a people in our communities, start taking over the education of our children, especially by supplementing it, by adding to it, so they are able to go to school, be successful with that, do those standards and that curriculum, because those standards of curriculum are the foundation of what they will see in college. Okay, again, that's why a lot of our kids, even the ones who graduate at the top of the class, go to college and they drop out, because what the school gave them was not enough. It was just super surface. And they get to college and realize, oh my God, what's happening here? How do I know this? It happened to me. I started college in 1993, should have graduated in 1997, didn't graduate until 2001, didn't get my degree until 2001. And what did that cost me financially? A lot. What did it do to me mentally, emotionally? A lot. I'm just thankful. I thank God that I had the right supports to push through it, and here I am now, helping young people, hopefully not make the same mistakes that I made. Again, this all requires a thinking outside of the box, a willingness to tell and speak the truth of what's needed, and yeah, all that I'm saying right now, I'm telling you right now, guys. I'm going to tell you. Those of you listening who make it to the end of this podcast, what I'm recording here, what I'm about to put out, is very scary, because for this to make sense, I have to put it out to all my platforms and be willing to accept the pushback and the side eyes and the whatever that might come from speaking my truth. But again, as the father of a boy and a girl, a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old, if daddy can't speak the truth as an educator about what they need, then what is he doing? And that's it. So with that being said, I want to say thank you for indulging me in this time and space, and I'm going to ask that you please, follow, share, subscribe, all the above, so that when I put out new content, you'll be able to get it. But I also want to hear from you. I want to hear from you, your comments. If you think what I'm saying is complete nonsense, please share. If you think what I'm saying makes sense, please share as well. I'm excited about the next episode, but that next episode I'm going to present to you my idea for a model by which we can start to really get our community involved in educating our children. And the fact that it matters, we have all the tools. We just need to be willing to step outside the box of what we understand education is to really support our children. So thank you again. Be well. And till next time. Peace.
And now he's been promoted. His job, principal.